Hello friends and welcome into the Cowboys Report. As always, I am your host Tom Downey. Go follow me on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney for more Cowboys coverage. Speaking of coverage, training camp coming up here for the Dallas Cowboys. So we're going to take a look at some notable storylines around the Cowboys. We'll have 5. Obviously, there are more than just 5, and I'm talking about every single player here, but these are some of the notable ones, at least that I think of. Number 1, of course we're going to lead with this one, because what else are we going to lead with? A potential Ezekiel Elliott holdout. I still lean towards no. I don't think he does. But it is at least a possibility we have to mention here. Now, Pro Football Talk is the one who has, really pushed this idea. Everyone else kind of like, well, maybe. That's what PFT's report was, that Zeke has privately said he'll hold out. And the latest one from Florio is that Zeke is actually now planning to leave the country like someone who's trying to escape and avoid jail time or something weird like that. It's all very confusing and just odd to me overall. Now, Zeke definitely wants contract talks to head in the correct direction, but I will make note that other reporters have disputed Florio's claims so far. So that's kind of the update there on the Zeke holdout, and we're going to know quickly if he's holding out or not. We're going to know by the time the team reports. That's coming up in less than a week. Now, the Cowboys do need Zeke on the field for week 1, but even if there is a little mini holdout, which in the end, no, is not a good thing, it's not the worst thing ever, though, because that would allow more reps for Tony Pollard. It would allow more reps for Mike Weber and more reps for Darius Jackson. Now, in reality, Zeke doesn't need a lot of training camp reps. He's good enough to just show up week 1 and be ready to play. So it would be good for the young guys, although it's definitely not the ideal scenario there for the Cowboys. So that is the big one, and one we will know yes or no pretty much right as training camp begins. Now, today is National Ice Cream Day. So, what is your favorite ice cream? Let me know in the comment section. This could be a particular brand. Sup, Bluebell, DM me on Twitter. You can target a particular flavor or even how you make your ice cream. For example, I love almost any flavor with peanut butter, like legitimate scoops of peanut butter thrown in there. It's absolutely fantastic. But let me know what your favorite ice cream day is on today, National Ice Cream Day. Now, we mentioned the Zeke holdout because he wants a new deal. He's not the only one, though, who's in the market for a new contract with the Dallas Cowboys. The two biggest ones by far are Dak Prescott and Amari Cooper. And although, yes, the on-field stuff is going to be the bigger priority in the long run, the contracts do matter, as Dak and Amari, there have been no inklings whatsoever of a potential holdout there. But the Cowboys aren't rushing into deals with either of those players. So Dak and Amari, they are the two priorities right now. They're both due to be free agents after this season ends. Byron Jones, meanwhile, more on him in a little bit, also going to be a free agent. Jaylon Smith will be an RFA. There have been some talks there, but I don't think Jaylon feels an urgency from himself or from the Cowboys, because the Cowboys don't do urgency apparently. And then, of course, Zeke. Let's start with Dak Prescott, though. For starters, this is what we've known for a while. He's not taking a hometown discount. That hometown discount has been in place for his entire rookie contract when he's made nothing. Now, there's not going to be a holdout from Dak. That's not his style. And in the end, the deal should be done around the end of the summer. The real question is what the price tag looks like for Dak Prescott. I've heard some 103.5 The Fan guys say $36 million, which I just stop it, guys. The logic of, well, he's the latest one, that makes sense, does apply a little bit because Wilson got 35, but Carson Wentz signed after Russell Wilson. So I think you see Dak's deal come in just a little bit above 32 because the price tag went up after Wentz did his deal. Remember, Wilson, Roethlisberger, Wentz all have had their deals done this offseason. The Cowboys have increased their overall value towards Dak because they've waited, but I think that 34-32, that's probably the likely range. And again, in 3 years, all of a sudden, it's probably not even a top 10 deal. Let's move then to wide receiver Amari Cooper. Now, neither side here appears to really be in a rush. Cooper knows he's going to get the bag. He also knows he has leverage because that Cowboys offense, as we saw last year, turns out you can't throw out Allen Hurns as your number one receiver and expect to win games. Go figure, right? Now, Cooper's rush, or lack thereof, I should say, is because he knows the market is about to expand. Yes, Odell makes 18. AB and Mike Evans make 16.5 plus. But Julio Jones and Michael Thomas will both probably surpass Odell Beckham. So Cooper could probably get 17 right now, but if he wants to wait a month 2 months, whatever it is, all of a sudden, he might be making that $18 million price tag. That's why he's probably better off waiting a little bit. So who should Dallas re-sign first? Type D for Dak, Z for Zeke, or A for Amari. You can make a strong argument, I think, for either Amari or Dak Prescott. I'm going to go with Dak, though. Get that deal done before Jared Goff signs, or the price is only going to be more expensive. At least that's my hope here for the Dallas Cowboys. But let me know what you guys think in the comments section. One more extension note here, that's around Byron Jones. There hasn't been much on contract talks. I think this might be a scenario where both sides kind of comfortable playing it out, which of course costs them money with DeMarcus Lawrence. But Byron's coming off a hip injury, which is, I don't think it's a huge deal, but it is worth monitoring. He's also only had 1 year cornerback. He was great before the hip kind of flared up on him, and even then he was still good. So from that perspective, I think you'll see both these sides wait. And remember, yes, money will eventually become tight. If the Cowboys want to re-sign Byron Jones, they absolutely can. Do not let the fake media tell you it's cap hell for the Cowboys. They're in good shape because they got plenty of money to spend this offseason, next year, and going forward too. Because the cap rises each year. That's just how it works. All right, guys, make sure you're subscribed. Let you in on a secret. The Raiders fans have caught up a little bit to us on our Oakland Raiders Report channel. So you don't want them to surpass us. So make sure you're subscribed. Get us to 30K, like 300 the past couple days there. Let's get to 30 real soon before camp opens. Otherwise, I'll be at least a little bit disappointed. Let's move then to some on-the-field stuff for training camp, because that was all contract stuff. How about Kellen Moore's impact? This is a big deal to me, because I don't know if there's any more important player or coach in reality for the Cowboys than Kellen Moore this season. The offense is going to feature similar plays, but the presentation will be different. It's like when you go to a steakhouse, you know? The steak, sometimes it's better, sometimes it's not as good, that's fine. But oftentimes, when you pay for an expensive steak, you're just paying for the presentation of it. Doesn't make it not great, still delicious. We've seen the Cowboys offense have success in the past, but there does need to be different elements involved here. So here are the new, because it's new for Dallas and not for the rest of the NFL, concepts for the offense this season. Number one, and I feel very confident we'll see this, more pre-snap motion. This allows Dak to have a better feel for what defensive scheme is actually being called on that particular play. It'll set up well. I want all of the play action. You don't need to establish anything when you got Zeke Elliott in the backfield. Run play action on first down, defense is going to bite. I also want to see more crossing routes, crossing patterns, rub routes, that kind of stuff. It sets up easy stuff underneath for Amari, Dak, Cobb, Tavon, whoever. Also, spread the defense out. There's a myth out there, and it's an easy one to understand, that stacked boxes are a result of who you have in the backfield. It's really far more impactful in terms of what the percentages are based on what personnel you run. And it makes sense, right? If you go 3 wide or split your tight end out, that takes a defender out of the box. So I want to see shotgun runs. That will lead to fewer stacked boxes for Zeke, even if teams know he's really, really good. And finally, use Dak's legs in the red zone. He's such a dynamic runner. Use the read option. Let's actually see the Dak-friendly offense that we did not see last season. Today's show is brought to you guys by our friends over at MyBookie. Head over to chatsports.com/Cowboys and use promo code GOCowboys for a 100% deposit bonus. You put down $50, they're just going to give you $50 for free. So what I would do is I'd use that bonus money from chatsports.com/Cowboys via promo code GOCowboys. I'd bet on the Cowboys to win games and on the Giants to lose games, and you'll end up doing pretty well for yourself, I think. Number 4, the position battles. Now, the reality is for the Cowboys, there really aren't that many starting spots open. I guess you could include kicker, but the Cowboys didn't really bring a great competition in. So there are 2, really. Left guard and strong safety. And then there are 2 other spots that have really great depth and just too many bodies. That is defensive end and then a wide receiver. Those are the big 4 for me that I'm going to watch with particular interest in camp and, of course, in the preseason. At wide receiver, there are 3 locks and only 3. Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, and Randall Cobb. That leaves as few as 2 and probably as many as 3, maybe 4. That seems a bit unlikely. That leaves Tavon, Cedric Wilson, Noah Brown, Allen Hurns, everybody else battling for a spot. That also includes everyone's favorite UDFA, jon'vea Johnson. Because this is what the Cowboys do. Every year, there's a UDFA the team and the fans kind of like a little bit more than everybody else. You guys remember Andy Jones? Yeah, I'm sure you do. The pet cat of several years ago. There's always one of them. This year seems to be jon'vea Johnson. Has great speed, but he had some drop issues at times at Toledo and at times even in minicamp/OTAs. Cowboys need more speed, but speed alone will not get him on this roster. Can he find a way to actually crack it this year, or is he more of a practice squad guy in year one? Next up is Allen Hurns. Now, he's probably the biggest name out there, well, maybe Tavon, but he's expensive. The Cowboys can save $5 million by cutting him. If he takes a pay cut, I'm not have him stay, but his numbers have not been great the past 3 years. The reality is 2015 was probably an outlier. You're not going to get that guy this year. But he knows all 3 receiver spots. That's something the Cowboys value. They like his leadership there coming off the injury regardless. He is not, though, guaranteed anything in preseason in terms of actually making the roster. Strong safety, meanwhile, Jeff Heath versus George Iloka. In terms of the starter, Heath has that job for now, but there's an entire camp and preseason to go. If Iloka picks up the defense and plays well, that could change. Donovan Wilson, Kevon Frazier, meanwhile, have a chance to start, but in reality, they're probably battling for that number 4 safety spot, the loser. I don't think Dallas goes 5 deep at safety. That means one of them might end up getting cut. Now, who do you guys want to start at strong safety? You've got really 4 options here. Well, I guess 5. Jeff Heath, George Iloka, Donovan Wilson, and Kevon Frazier. And your 5th option, go sign somebody. I'd love Trey Boston. The Cowboys don't seem to have much interest, though. Then on the offensive line, the left guard spot is up for grabs. Connor Williams, Connor McGovern, and for now, Xavier Su'a-Filo. With Joe Looney able to play center and guard, I don't know if Dallas is going to go 4 deep at guard. They might only go 3. So does Su'a-Filo make the roster? He started some last year, but then the Cowboys drafted Connor McGovern in round 3. McGovern is going to make this roster. There's no way he doesn't unless he's hurt. So that leaves McGovern and Williams battling, I think, mainly for that left guard role. Now, McGovern missed a little bit of time early on because of an injury. Williams, meanwhile, has bulked up. That's very good news. But last year, he was handed the left guard job. There was no one else to really compete against him. That is not the case this time around, and he will get, I think, some cross-training at right tackle, offensive tackle. So all of a sudden, well, does he end up losing that left guard spot for now and get more training at right tackle? I think he starts at left guard, but I am not confident like I was this time last year about him starting. And then finally, an defensive end. Oh, there is depth galore here. DeMarcus Lawrence, Quinn, Tyron Crawford, Dorrance Armstrong, Jalen Jelks, Joe Jackson, Gary Hyder, Taco Charlton. All those guys are roster worthy. That's too many bodies, though, and that's not even mentioning Randy Gregory, who has filed for reinstatement. The hope is he's back for camp. I don't know if it comes in that quickly, but if he comes back at some point during camp, that'd be nice there. And if he comes back, even if he's not there for week 1 necessarily, he's suspended potentially, well, that complicates a defensive end depth chart. Cowboys want him back, but that leads to a big question. Which defensive ends are you cutting? I think you have to dump 2 of them, and that's if Gregory isn't on the active roster for week 1. So is it Taco Charlton? Is it Joe Jackson? Jalen Jelks probably has the most votes just because he was the 7th rounder. Kerry Hyder, Dorrance Armstrong? I don't think you're going to carry all of those guys, so who are you dumping? Let me know in the comments section. And then one last storyline here, and yes, we'll talk players to watch later on in the week, hint, hint. How about Jason Witten and Travis Frederick's return? The Cowboys get both back after Witten retired for a year and Frederick missed the entire year with Guillain-Barré syndrome. Now, Frederick, I think, will be eased back during camp. They are not going to give him his full workload. There's just no reason to. Let him take his time, build up more of a ramp process so he's good to go in week 1. And then for Witten, I want to see how the 37-year-old fares. I mean, the Cowboys have hyped up his return with the, he's faster now than he was the last time he played, which, I mean, that's best shape of life season. Also, we are now in full-fledged best shape of life season. Can't wait to see who else is in the best shape of life at Cowboys camp. But I don't know what the truly reasonable expectations should be for Jason Witten. I mean, the past 4 years he's played, he's been a 60 really 65-ish catch guy, 500 to 600 yards, probably 600 there, and about 4 touchdowns. That's not who he's going to be when he comes back, though. The Cowboys are still going to utilize Blake Jarwin, at least a little bit, and Dalton Schultz, at least a little bit. Now, come fourth quarter, I think you're going to see Jason Witten out there on the field. But he is not going to be the 60 for 605 and 4 TD guy he was the past couple of years. There's just no way, right? So here's my over-under for Witten, and I know it's on the lower side, but 400 yards. The Cowboys have said 25 snaps for Witten, but I don't buy that. So over or under 400 receiving yards for Witten in 2019. I'll take maybe, I don't know, it's a good one, I think. I know most of you will take over, but let me know if I'm wrong in the comments section. I will take, I guess give me the over, but just barely, I guess. All right, Travis Frederick, meanwhile, is perhaps, I think he is, by the way, the best center in all of the NFL. And if he's healthy, that is a massive boost to the Cowboys' offensive line. He did not play last year. The Cowboys, they know he had the offseason surgery for his shoulder stuff and he had the nerve issues. They're going to let him take his time. If he's good to go in week 1 and he's the guy we all know and love, that offensive line gets a massive boost. Whoever your left guard is ends up playing a lot better. And if the Cowboys have a healthy Frederick, well, now you got 3 All-Pros on there, and Tyron, Frederick, and Martin. La'el Collins hopefully is better. And then all of a sudden, instead of your left guard being a lot more on an island, he gets more help. Because Looney was great, but he's not Frederick. Frederick coming back is an absolutely massive boost there to the Cowboys' offensive line. So if he's able to go, that is a huge, huge addition and boost in return for what it was a disappointing Cowboys offensive line last year. If Frederick's back in form, expectation should be a top 5 unit in 2019 for the Dallas Cowboys. Hey Cowboys fans, thanks for watching the Cowboys Report. If you haven't already, click right here to subscribe to our channel for all the best Cowboys coverage on the internet. That's news, rumors, highlights, mailbags, film studies, and a whole lot more. And I'm making your lives a little bit easier as well with the next Cowboys Report video right here.